about what we learned while we're out here. Some of you already know it, some of you don't. So we'll share it anyway. If you're cooking, well, if you're melting snow for spruce, the smoke comes around it and it makes it taste bitter. Water tastes horrible. So if you have the chance, burn quake and aspen. It doesn't funky up the taste of your water as bad. Or better yet, boil it just like this. Now as you can see, snow per volume is quite a lot more full of air than water. And you want a little water in the bottom so that it absorbs up and then melts. I put a big chunk this big and now it's down to that. I just keep feeding snow. You don't have to boil snow if it's white snow. You do have to boil it if it's others. But you basically just cook it. And if you have a little water in the bottom to start out, that really helps you a lot. Again, I'm using my Nalgene bottle here. And then just as it gets full, this isn't the most ideal pan to do this with. Pour it down in there. That tastes so good. We're in high Utah here. High Uintas in Utah. And it is actually a high altitude desert. Now I know there's snow all around me, but desert's defined by how much humidity or how much water is available. There's not a lot of water available. So the air is going to be dry, which means you need to drink a lot of water. You usually need to drink water far before you start to feel thirsty. My Maxpedition fatty bag. I've got on the outside of that some eye drops. They are beautiful when it comes to dealing with fire and stuff out in the outdoors, having eye drops. And then I've got fire related stuff. Okay, this is a mirror. It's not fire related, but it's good to have one in your kit. And it's a little survival mirror you can use to you let the light hit here, you aim your fingers over and you shine it on the back of your hand, and then you put the plane in between your fingers and flash it like that, and that's how you can signal somebody. Put that aside. This is I keep on the inside, and this is actually bleach. It's just normal bleach. As you can see, I've written bleach, do not use. And I've had the eye drops on the outside not to confuse the two. I have this just in case I have to purify water. If you remember that you have to be 21 to drink, you can remember that you have to have 2 drops for 1 liter. You'll put 2 drops of normal household unscented pure bleach in your water. Turn this down. In your water. And then wait a half an hour. If it smells a little bit like chlorine, it's good. If it's really nasty water, you can go up to 4 drops and no more. But that's some water purification. Now I call this my fire bag. I have a little waterproof matches that I showed earlier. Have this little Zippo I got from Blade HQ. Fire there. That's what I've been using to light stuff. And I have this little blowtorch. I think it's called a military blowtorch is what they called it. But one thing that's really good to remember, and the reason why I have 2 of these little blowtorch, these little flame butane lighters, I've never had one that actually worked at altitude. I know that you can adjust the flow of it, and if you crank it all the way up, it works a little bit better. But for the most part, you want a Zippo or something like that, because it will work at no matter what altitude you're at. And if you have one, it's good to have a refill device. This has just got Zippo fluid in it, and I've attached it to a peanut. This little peanut is a baby Zippo lighter that you can get. Take a second to light it up here. Anyway, you get the point. But it just pulls apart like this. Pour your Zippo fluid in there, put it back together, and then let it go. And again, I played with this other Zippo for a little bit to get to light before we started videoing, but as you can see, that's a nice little baby size alternative for an EDC bag. some of the other fire starting stuff I've got in here. This is kindling. Kindling is very important to have because around here, especially when we're in all these pines, it's hard to find. Katadyn water tablets go with this. Again, fire and water, because that's kind of the idea, is heat and water purification. And of course, I have my SE Striker, this big meaty guy right here. Throws out a nice hefty spark. Kind of in the daylight, it's a little bit hard to see, but the cool thing about this one, this is the SE Striker again, is it has a compass in the back of it, right there. And it's actually a quality compass. It's not like the cheesy stuff you usually find with stuff like this. It's actually a very high quality compass. And I've loaded the back of that with cotton and petroleum jelly. So all I have to do is make little pinches of it and then run the striker on it. We showed last night how to do a striker fire. Tried to show how to do a flint and steel fire, but it's too cold for me. Basically, you put your hand on the ground at the back of the blade on an angle. You put it like that, and your kindling goes right here, or your cotton and petroleum jelly, and you just yank this out until it drops a spark on the thing that you're trying to ignite. The last two things I've got in here, this is a piston fire starter. You unloose this to let air pressure out, and then it pulls right out. There's some old char cloth in there. And anyway, you put a little char cloth right in there, and then tap it like that, tighten it up, hit it, pull it out, and then put it in your kindling to start it on fire. This is an ingenious little thing that I've seen, and all it is a little can, and if you don't have stringy bark, for instance, if you have like shredded, chopped up bark or grass or something they have a hard time keeping together, you just smash it down inside of a can like this. If I can get the lid off. There we go. You smash it down inside of the can, and then put your ember right there, and then blow in the ember hole, and it starts creating flame. And then once you've got a good flame, you go pump and spit it down underneath your little teepee, and it will start a fire right up for like that. Very last thing I've got in here ultimately is the saw. A lot of your Swiss Army tools have a saw. This is the Victronox. I think it's the Hunter. That saw right there will make notches in baseboards for bow drills. It will take a tree about that big and saw it in half if you go in a circle. It is just, it tears through stuff like there's no tomorrow. And then there's a peanut butter spreader and a cord cutter on there too, with a little screwdriver as well. So that's what's in my fire kit. Okay, so we left this overnight last night and it froze. The boughs are supposed to help keep it from freezing up so bad. I'm gonna try to, oh, that's not bad. Little chunks on top, which is good. So these boughs basically keep it from completely locking up. The trap didn't go off, which means nothing hit it really hard, which isn't too surprising because the fish here are small and they don't hit real hard. At least not hard enough to release the trap. But we'll let it roll itself up. I can see right now that we aren't pulling anything in. So no fish, no luck here, but we can always move over to the next lake and do some hand fishing and see if we can jig some fish out of the lake.
Good morning, my name is JP, up here on a very frosty Crystal Lake. We're going to talk to you a little bit about ham radio usage in the backcountry. This is pretty important when you're traveling with a group so that you can keep in touch. It may not seem like very far away, but even just a couple 100 yards or even 100 yards, you're out of earshot, so there's no way you're going to be able to yell to somebody if you're either in an emergency situation or if you just need to get their attention for something else. The radio that I brought with me today, this is a Yaesu VX8R. This is a fully submersible radio. It's got a little bit longer antenna on it, which is not stock. This is something that gets a little better gain. And also a waterproof shoulder mic. This is nice to keep up near your collarbone here so that you can hear when people are trying to get a hold of you. One of the challenges with this in the backcountry I found is the shoulder mic gets hung up on stuff really easy in the trees, and the antenna goes up your nose if you're riding on the back of a snowmobile or something with somebody else. But this is a really durable unit. I ran it all day yesterday and it only used about 25% of the battery power, and I charged it up this morning with my Goal Zero solar stuff, charged right back up, and this is my go-to radio for the backcountry.
Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about bug-out guns. There's a whole bunch of different reasons you can bring different guns. On my other video, we had 10/22s, we had 12 gauges, we had a little scout rifle. At the time I didn't own this rifle, or I would have brought it. This is just an AR-15. It's a short barrel, so I have my tax stamp paperwork in the bottom so that I can legally own it. It took me about 9 months with the ATF to make it legal, and the reason why you have to do that is because it's a 10-inch barrel. The reason why I like this, it's small, fairly lightweight, it straps very well in my backpack. This is a great small game round. When I say that, I mean like medium-sized game. You can shoot rabbits with it. You just got to watch your round placement so you don't rip them up. It'll be good for taking down deer, anything like that. You can shoot muskrat, beaver, stuff that you can eat. It also doubles as a good self-defense gun. Obviously, you know, the military uses something very similar to this. On mine, I put drop sights on it so that it can make it even more streamlined, and then this collapses. It's sticking for some reason. I think it's frozen. So this collapses, and I'll mess with that in a minute, but it shrinks the gun up very, very nicely, so I can just throw it over my shoulder and go. I've also got a 22, a little 22 pistol right here. You guys saw that in the first video. Just a little 22 right here. This is perfect for squirrels and rabbits and all the very small game. Plus, I have more ammunition in this one pocket of 22 than I do in all these other pockets for the 223 or the 5.56.
So talking about the firearms that we bring with us in the bug-out situation, I chose to bring this really nice mossy oak stainless steel Ruger 1022. This is the takedown model. The reason I chose to bring this on this trip, it's super lightweight and it breaks down really easy to go in your pack. It has a scope on it that's maybe a little bit big for this rifle. This is a Nikon Pro Staff that's got the bullet drop compensation reticle in it for the 22 cartridge. So the way this comes apart, if you haven't seen one of these, it's pretty handy. Magazine comes out. You check a clear chamber. Lock it open. There's another little lever up under the front end here. You just pull that back. I think mine might be frozen too. There it goes. That comes in half, and then that breaks down into a little bag, and all your mags and everything store right along with it. This is a Glock 23 40 caliber. This is my everyday carry gun, so I just take it with me everywhere, bug out or no. So, and I always carry a couple magazines with me on that. When I'm carrying it not inside the waistband, I use a single button Serpa Blackhawk holster. Conceals pretty nicely. Again, that gets kind of hung up under a backpack, so depending on your body size, you might elect for something different, but this is what works for me.
And
So one of the things when you got this whole bug out scenario going is improvisation. So we hiked over from Crystal Lake, I don't know, a little ways, enough to run out of breath, get over here to Washington Lake. So we're gonna dig down through the snow here to try our luck at ice fishing again. As fate would have it, we forgot to bring a shovel to dig down through the snow. So here's a piece of gear we haven't talked about yet, and that's our snowshoes. So I'm wearing these MSR Evo Ascent snowshoes, and they're gonna double as our shovel right here. So the back of that has a nice pointy tip. The snow's not too bad here, and you can either use your elevator right there as a grab point, and right there, and that makes it pretty effective. See, we're down to slush already just in a few scoops. So use the gear you have to get your job done. Today's augering provided to you by ibuprofen.
Times 2.
Without it, we wouldn't be having any of this.
All right, I got this little survival kit from Blade HQ. It's got it's about $6. If you see it on the website, it's got this little yellow paper on it. Looks like that. And it comes with a whole bunch of stuff. It comes with everything that you need. I used this out here a few weeks ago, and I decided to add to it just because I wanted a few more things. And I added some worm hooks right there, and I added some jigs because I knew I was going to be ice fishing. And that's something to add to the jig. And then some more live bait. So I've got this little guy here, and this is what's really nice is everything you need is in this little, I don't even know what to call this thing, this little handle. So, yeah, if I don't fall in the hole, drop that guy right there. Get it down a ways. Make sure it's actually far. It took that much length just to get through the ice because the ice is so thick up here. And usually what you can do is go clear to the bottom and then come up for a bit. Or what I'm going to do is just jig for a bit. And basically that little dude's wiggling its way up and then wiggling its way down. And hopefully we can grab us a fish. I don't need that second weight, but I like it because it kind of pulls really hard on it. And we'll see if I catch me some fish. All right, I got this little survival kit from Blade HQ. It's got it's about $6. If you see it on the website, it's got this little yellow paper on it. Looks like that. And it comes with a whole bunch of stuff. It comes with everything that you need. I used this out here a few weeks ago, and I decided to add to it just because I wanted a few more things. And I added some worm hooks right there, and I added some jigs because I knew I was going to be ice fishing. And that's something to add to the jig. And then some more live bait. So I've got this little guy here, and this is what's really nice is everything you need is in this little, I don't even know what to call this thing, this little handle. So, yeah, if I don't fall in the hole, drop that guy right there. Get it down a ways. Make sure it's actually far. It took that much length just to get through the ice because the ice is so thick up here. And usually what you can do is go clear to the bottom and then come up for a bit. Or what I'm going to do is just jig for a bit. And basically that little dude's wiggling its way up and then wiggling its way down. And hopefully we can grab us a fish. I don't need that second weight, but I like it because it kind of pulls really hard on it. And we'll see if I catch me some fish. Yeah, it's a big one too.
Oh yeah.
Woo! Yeah, yeah. Nice little brook. I knew he did it.
Good job, Pete.
Sweet. The jigging.
Who wants to gut it? Don't anyone volunteer at the same time.
I think Benchmade needs a little gear test.
Yeah, you want to Benchmade it? I was going to use my Mora blade, but we can use that Benchmade. No, 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 no. No, 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 no.